What's up, guys? This is Sapphire here, and I am joined by Dell, bringing you an exciting replay, well, what I hope will be an exciting replay. And our player tonight is Edge, who's spawning as the red Zerg, and his opponent is Voices, spawning as the blue Terran. Now, these are a couple of interesting up-and-coming players, so what can you tell us about these players, Dell?
Yeah, well, they're both StarCraft 1 players, and they play each other quite a lot. Edge was Zerg in StarCraft 1, Voices was Terran in StarCraft 1, and you might remember him from a feature article about up and coming players.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, Dell's actually got a really good thread on Cybergamer mentioning these up-and-coming players, giving really good background info, and these could be the superstars of tomorrow, kind of your Glade and Az at the moment, who've been dominating really, really well. So it'll be interesting to see what these guys are going to throw at each other. Looking like a pretty standard opening so far from Voices, throwing that supply depot down at his ramp, so looking like a block off there. And I'm very interested in this lately, because I have seen a lot of players opting not to block off against Zerg, and you would think, why would you not do that? You know, you're always seeing these Zergling run-ins, but no, there is that time lost setting your SCV towards the ramp, so there's a little bit there, and every second counts in this matchup. So I have seen quite a lot of players choosing not to wall off their ramp and going tight buildings near their, throwing the barracks down near their gas, and then that makes it a little bit tighter and a little bit easier to defend against Baneling busts. So interesting that Voices is choosing for that wall in here, and he's got that little murder hole at the front there. And meanwhile, we are seeing pretty standard 13, really fast gassing into 13 pull there for Edge. So interested to find out whether he's going to go for an all-in Baneling bust here, or whether he's going to try and macro up a little bit.
Yeah, and we do notice that both players should know each other's positions straight off the mark, and this can be important depending what build you're doing. I think it probably favors the Terran, seeing they've got more options in the early game, but if the Zerg can get a scout in there before that block-in goes up, you know, the wall-off, then that'll be very good for the Zerg, because that's usually a luxury they don't have on this map.
Yeah, a little bit of savings going on here from Edge, hitting up around 300 minerals. He could be thinking about Xbox expansion, but giving these positions, I'd really advise against it. Looking like he's probably going to spend in Queen, and no, he does save up for a bunch of Zerglings there, so going to apply some early pressure. I'd imagine see the Queen, yeah, it is on the way, so that was a savings to throw down a bit of pressure here. Not sure how successful it's going to be, because Voices does have this wall in, which he's playing around with right now, and throwing down a factory, so he's going to complete the wall in nice and tight, can even throw in a second supply depot behind his original one to prevent any kind of harassment from Banelings. But I'd imagine we're going to see very fast Hellions coming out here, while Edge just gets that nice surround and takes that SCV out. So interested to find out whether we're going to see that factory move from that position and throw down a reactor, or whether he's going to just commit to these Hellions. He's got to be careful and not get caught out with that ramp down, which can be like really ruin your days of Terran here. But these Zerglings coming in here, there is that Marine there. If at all this SCV can come in and repair that, I don't imagine this attack's going to last very long, and we do see Edge turn around right there, so no real damage going on, but he does pick up the factory, so that's super important for Edge, and there's the factory finish now. So we may see Hellions coming out while that speech research is almost done, so it's going to come down to Micro, and there's this reactor coming along here, so going to see some kind of Marine Hellion mix-up possibly, while Voices has quite a lot of mineral saves himself, so possibly even thinking about a command center. There we do see the command center go down, so he's going to be looking to expand right now, while we're seeing Edge throwing down his own expansion. So both players looking to transition into the mid game here. A little bit of harassment plan there by Edge with his fast Zerglings and saving Larvae and money, but right now looking like he's really not going to be able to get into this base.
Yeah, well, I think they've played each other enough to know that for Edge, he'll know that Voices favors this mech style play. So he was probably very confident in placing his hatchery early. He didn't expect any kind of biological unit rush early on, knowing he favors this macro style. And yeah, he definitely likes his Hellion harassment, and this could be quite devastating, as we don't see a Roach Warren down, as Edge has gone straight for the lair here.
Yeah, looking like his Hellion's coming out to have a bit of a Zergling barbecue. Edge is trying to get the surround here, and he's really just getting milked slowly but surely. One Hellion almost going down, but they're brought nicely into the range of this Marine on the ramp there. And a little bit of smack talk going down between the two players. Obviously, good nature to know each other. 3 Hellions now, after losing one for Voices, coming out across the map. So this is going to be crucial for Edge. He does not want to lose drones. He does not want to get his main mining shut down here. So it's going to be interesting to find out. We can Queen getting caught off creep. This is not good. Although he does block the ramp there. I would like to see Voices go for the mineral line, which he does do. He is coming around. Oh, these drones are going to be in so much trouble. Zergling's coming in for a bit of a Hail Mary play to try and slow this down, but Edge is in huge trouble here because all this lost mine time. One more Hellion going down. All the drones bar 2 on that expansion being roasted, and there's the bunch of drones being hit there to try and get him back in the game. And while this went on, though, a lot of unspent minerals for Voices that he's now catching up on. Surprised that he didn't commit to that attack, even though there was this Queen coming out there. Even getting his Spire out now for Edge. So even though he did succumb to that harassment, he is roughly equal with Voices in base timing. But there's, of course, that Mule advantage with 800 over 500 coming in Edge's favour, but those mules is really probably going to kick in for Voices once he gets his orbital command back in play here. So I think the Voices could have committed to that harassment a little bit more than he did, but pretty good position here for Edge.
Yeah, and Voices is going for that mech play as predicted. He has 3 factories down right now, so I expect to see some heavy mech play. Edge responding with Mutalisks, so I expect probably Mutalisk Ling, maybe a few Roaches thrown in, the usual counter. But yeah, taking his second gas now, so not really much to say about who's ahead at this point, but that Hellion harassment did do quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, definitely slowed Edge down a little bit there. And one thing, Voices was very slow on these tech laps, just trying to get as many Hellions out as possible, but it has meant that he hasn't been able to get the pre-igniter upgrade, which is crucial when defending against these Feelings. And very nicely for Edge, that Spine Crawler warped in just in time to deny those 4 Hellions coming out. And we're seeing Edge trying to do a bit of harassment right here. He was trying to slow down Voices' expansion early on, but those Hellions really catered for that. He had really good spread and micro control of his Zerglings early to try and slow this expansion down, but the Hellions have really turned the tide a little bit for Voices. But now he's got a few Spine Crawlers up here and his Queen, and he's got good saturation on his natural starting to kick in there. Sneeze still needs a few more, but it's a really good situation here for Edge. And now it's going to come down to the Mutalisk harassment. When you do go Mutas against a Terran, you really need to commit to this harassment. Even though there's Thors coming out, if he can use the Magic Box, he should be pretty well equipped to deal with them. And if you guys haven't seen the thread on Team Liquid and you do play against Zerg, even if you don't play Zerg, it's worth checking it out. Go to the strategy section of Team Liquid and read about the Mutalisk Magic Box strategy. Basically, you get your Mutalisks, which normally from Starcraft 1 people just cluster them in like a little ball and keep them together, but in Starcraft 2, because of that AoE damage on those Thors, you want them to spread out. Now what happens is, and we saw this in Intel Extreme Masters, if you put your Mutalisk, just leave them, they'll automatically naturally spread out, kind of like all units do, they'll just naturally spread. And if you leave them there for 2 or 3 seconds, they will then spread out into a box, and in that spread formation, they will not take any damage from Thor AoE. Thors will just hit them one at a time. And if you just leave them like that and then you click outside the box, like if you have them like they are here, let them spread out a bit as we see these mutas on the screen, and you click outside the box that they form, they will move in that formation, and you can move past the Thor and then keep them moving past the Thor. Don't click inside the magic box, and then as you fly over the Thor, click attack on the Thor and they will stay in their spread. And you can kill 3 Thors even with a 3-to-1 muta to Thor ratio, no problem at all, because the mutas will be taking only damage from 1 bullet at a time, and it's just absolutely crucial that you become aware of that strategy if you play Zerg.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see Edge take this 3rd base down here, because it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do too much damage with the Mutalisks in terms of Voice's economy. He's got bunkers, he's got that engineering bay out really early, and he's already got 3 Thors out. So it's really critical that he takes this 3rd base and to keep up with the macro of the Terran, who's got the mules to support him. It doesn't look like Voices will be attacking anytime soon. He's just massing up, getting a large mech army. So it's definitely critical.